It was summertime in the country. There was a farm near a lake, and by the bank of the lake grew tall burdock leaves, high and thick. There sat Mother Duck on her nest, waiting for her young brood to hatch. One day, one by one, the eggs began to crack open. Peep, peep. Tiny little ducklings slowly hatched their way out of the eggs, their eyes wide with amazement. How big the world was! One of the eggs was bigger than the rest and had not yet hatched. An old duck, who was paying a visit to Mother Duck, suggested it was a turkey egg and advised her to get rid of it. But Mother Duck kept sitting on it. At last, it cracked open. A big gray and furry ball came out of it. This duckling looked nothing like its siblings. It was gray and somewhat ugly and awkward looking. Mother Duck wondered if indeed it was a young turkey. "We shall find out," she thought. "We will see if it can swim like the others." The next morning, Mother Duck took her ducklings out for their first swimming lesson. Taking turns, the ducklings took a dive and were all successful, even the gray ugly one. Mother Duck thought, "He can swim really well. He is my own child after all." But as she introduced her new ducklings to the neighbors and other animals on the lake, everyone started to make fun of the gray, ugly duckling. At the farm, the ducks pecked him. The chickens beat him. The girl who fed the chickens pushed him with her feet. The poor ugly duckling was feeling so sad. A turkey even attacked him and tried to bite his neck. Mother Duck said, "Let him be." But even his brothers and sisters were mean to him and said, "You are so ugly. We wish the cat would get you." At last, the ugly duckling fled, flying high over the hedge. The little birds flew away upon seeing him. He thought, "They are scared by my ugliness, too." The poor ugly duckling had to spend his first night alone in the moor, sad and sorrowful. Some wild ducks saw him and made fun of him. He was so ugly. He thought, "Maybe I can hide away here." He stayed hidden for 3 days. One morning, the ugly duckling encountered 2 male geese who said, "You are so ugly that we like you. Will you join us and become a migrating bird?" But suddenly, bang, bang! Hunting season had begun. The 2 geese flew away, leaving the ugly duckling alone. The poor thing stayed hidden away in the bushes, waiting for the terrifying noise to stop. Autumn was coming, and the weather was getting colder. One evening at sunset, a big flock of giant birds with long necks appeared in the sky, flying majestically above the lake. They were swans on their way to the warm south for winter. The ugly duckling had never seen anything so beautiful. They spread their large wings and flew so high that the ugly duckling, watching with excitement, began to spin around like a spinning wheel and craned his neck towards them. He let out a piercing shriek that frightened even him. He loved them more than he had ever loved anyone. Winter came, and soon the moor was empty. The wind was howling, and snowflakes were whirling in the ice-cold air. The poor ugly duckling had to keep swimming on the water to keep it from freezing. He paddled as best he could, but he was exhausted. He paddled until he could paddle no more and lay still, frozen fast in the ice. A farmer who was walking by saw the ugly duckling in the ice. The farmer broke the ice with his shoe and wrapped the ugly duckling up and brought him home. Inside the home, the warmth revived him, but when he woke up, he was so afraid that he fluttered around the house in terror until he managed to slip out. The ugly duckling had to endure a long, hard winter. But one day he finally felt the warm sun shining, and he saw that spring had come at last. Trees were in bloom. Everything looked happy and beautiful again. Out from a bush close by walked 3 beautiful swans, back from the south. The ugly duckling remembered the majestic birds he had seen flying months before and longed to approach them. "Never mind if I'm ugly," he thought. "I just wish I could be with them." As he approached them carefully, something wonderful happened. The swans rushed to meet him with outstretched wings and welcoming shrieks and bowed their heads before him. The duckling felt so shy and embarrassed that he looked down into the water. On the surface of the water, the ugly duckling saw his own reflection. He couldn't believe his eyes. He had grown into a beautiful, graceful swan. He felt ashamed and happy and relieved and grateful all at once. He rustled his feathers, curved his slender neck, and cried joyfully, "When I was an ugly duckling, I never dreamt of this kind of happiness. Now I am a beautiful swan."